Week 14 defenses and kickers. Let's talk about what we did, what we got right this week. Some calls of the week. The Jaguars, 16.5 points, third on the main slate for defenses. The Rams, a respectable 7.25. Upset loss to the Panthers, though. Should have gotten a lot more there. The Buccaneers had a healthy 8.25. So didn't win, didn't lose you either. But kickers, we've been hot on kickers, Chev. Evan McPherson, last week got you 12. This week, 24 points. Thursday Night Football, Thanksgiving. You love to see it. We called that out in a large, high total shootout, a low rostership player opposite Tyler Loop, and it nailed it. It was money right there. Kaimi Fairbairn, 9 points, a good streamer. Keep rolling with him. The Texans get the Chiefs next week. Shout out Jason Myers. We've been banging the drum for him all season. We got to where he was too high to recommend on the streamer into the 70s, but we were banging the drum every single week, and 19 points this week for him. Hat tip to him. If you've been listening, watching this show, you have had him within the last month. You've gotten Jason Myers, and the last 4 games, 15, 14, 13, of course, 19 points. So one of our best season-long plays. Now going over to some defenses. The Broncos. Smoke them if you got them at the Raiders. They're favored by 5.5 on a low game total of 43.5. Broncos, 80, 90% rostership. So you either have them or you don't. So this is not like a streamer, but we want you to get there at the Raiders. It's a spot we simply pick on the Raiders. 7 games of 12 or more fantasy points for the Broncos. They lead the league in sacks. We love what they're doing. And then of note, before we get to our Browns, the bye weeks, last bye weeks, week 14, Panthers, Patriots, Giants, and 49ers. Patriots defense, they've been great to us, so maybe get a streamer here. Let's start off with the Browns defense versus the Titans. Letdown versus the 49ers. Currently, though, 34.5 over under. Browns favored by 3.5. The Jaguars just had that top performance, top 3 against the Titans, so we keep picking on them. We got the December elements and the Titans matchup. This is just ripe. We've been following the Browns, keeping them on our roster since they got us 22 against the Raiders. Browns are 4th in interception percentage, 2nd in sack percentage to the Broncos. Hey, Myles Garrett. And you're going to get, Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, 1st in rushing EPA. So good luck in the running game. Last 2 weeks, prior to the Raiders, they were 40% and 35% rostered. The Browns have gone all the way up into the 60s. So hopefully you have them and you're excited for this week. Chev, tell us about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, more than anything, this is more a bet against Tyler Shuck than anything. They're 22% rostered on ESPN, 30% rostered on Sleeper, and they get to open this pre-playoff stretch, this stretch heading into your championship rounds, and they get a rollout of the Falcons at home, at the Panthers, which, hey, listen, I don't know. It could go either way with Alabama Bryce but we don't know. And then the Dolphins. So Tua turn the ball over could be present or it could be really good. I don't know. It could be a both. But all that to say, the Bucs are 7th in interception percentage and 8th in EPA versus the run. This could be a trap game if you really want to play Taysom Hill. Also, don't do that. Maybe don't. Or, potentially Devin Neal. But just don't play Taysom Hill against the Buccaneers defense. Why don't you tell us about where you're headed with the Los Angeles Rams this week?
Hey, with the Rams, I think we can go back to the well on them at the Cardinals. Currently 48.5. Rams favored by 7.5. 80% on Sleeper and ESPN. So you ought to have had them. They'll be salty after that bitter loss to the Panthers. The running question is the Rams defense matchup proof? Not necessarily. They played the Ravens without Lamar Jackson, the Saints just period, the 49ers without Brock Purdy twice, and then the half against Baker Mayfield less Bucs team. So this may be one last boom game for the Rams. Week 15, Lions, 16 away in a rematch to Seattle. Very fierce up in Seattle. If you get to week 17, though, at the Falcons, that may be a decent matchup with Kirk Cousins. So we shall see there. But let's go one more time. Rams will make her dance. at the Cardinals. Chev, tell us about why it's risky, but why we might want to go for the Miami Dolphins.
Well, first and foremost, the Jets are going to spend their evening in the King of Diamonds, and they might not be running on all cylinders. So there's a lot of nightlife attractions that could potentially have you not at your best, you know, going into a game against the Miami Dolphins. So I'm going to bet against the or against the Jets doing anything of note, and I'm going to roll with Miami Dolphins. So this is just an opportunity to fade Tyrod Taylor. It's been okay. All right, they just won another game.
Yep.
But do you really want to keep betting on John Mechie and Adonai Mitchell to not drop the ball, or Tyrod Taylor to not take an unnecessary sack, or just, negative things happening because it's the Jets? So, look, if you just believe in mojo, then you'll ride with me and you'll play the Dolphins this week, or, against the Jets. All right, let's do it. So, tell us about your fly, Eagles, fly, and why people don't fly against them. They just run the ball all the time.
Hey, right now, the Eagles defense, week 15, there are look-ahead defense, home versus the Raiders. Of course, Janty may see what Kyle Monangai did, go off, but we're picking on the Raiders. We saw what the Raiders got beat up by the Chargers, and the Chargers got right. Philadelphia can absolutely get right. They got outclassed by the Bears on Black Friday. And this is a look-ahead spot, though. So week 15, you might be able to circle Philadelphia, and they may be dropped after what happened on Black Friday versus the Bears. Then let's talk about the Jaguars D versus the Jets. Again, another look ahead. This ends our 3 of 4 game stretch for the Jaguars, where we recommend them. Week 16 at the Broncos is a risky matchup. Week 17, though, keep an eye on Daniel Jones. Should Daniel Jones get injured and be out, we'd be looking at the Jaguars as a week 17 streamer in championship week. And then, of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the Saints, the Barf alert. Home versus the Panthers, week 15. Jets, home week. And week 17 at the Titans. If you're totally worked over on defense, this happens in leagues all the time. People hoard 2 or 3, and it'll be the last basement team on the roster, and you're stuck. Like, you got nobody. 3%, 12% rostership on ESPN and Sleeper. It's a good mix and match, ironically. If you have the Packers defense, the Packers get the Broncos and Bears on the road, and then the Ravens at home. So you may be sitting there thinking like, hey, the Packers kind of got me there, helped me out, but it's a tough road. If you're a Packers defense roster, you might want to look at the New Orleans Saints. So keep an eye on them. You don't have to pick them up immediately. It's not like people are running, but when it's picked over, there's that all diversion defense that you can get with the New Orleans Saints. Now let's hear from the Podfather.
Pour one out for an incredible best ball season. It was a breakout 2025 for Fast Draft, but now the NFL action has started. That means it's DFS season. That's right. You might think, oh, wow, DFS, I can't win DFS. Oh, but you can on Fast Draft. You just pick any 6 guys, and you put them in a handful of booster spots. There's no salary rubric you have to follow. You're not going up against thousands of killer bots in these tournaments. Oh, no. These are regular people grabbing their 6 favorite plays of the week, and that's all you have to do. And we post the ownership so that you can choose how much chalk you want. There is no drafting. It's called the Quick 6 Super Slam. The Quick 6 Super Slam is the signature DFS contest at Fast Draft. It is changing DFS. We are making DFS great again. So go to fastdraft.app and use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. And let's go start drafting faster.
Chev, I know you're going to love this one. The people are going to love it. Tell us about Evan McPherson.
Well, Evan McPherson, this was supposed to be an AFC championship preview, but Evan McPherson just gave you 21 points. We told you to start him last week, and now I'm telling you to do it again. He's 12% rostered on ESPN, 27% rostered on Sleeper. We had him as a play against the Patriots, and he got you 12 points, and now he just went off and got 24. This is the golden leg within the golden offense, and they're going to push to finish strong in 2025. So, I think that this is a game that could shoot out with Joe Burrow, and he could have a lot of opportunities, or drive stall out and he kicks 6 field goals like he did last week. So why don't you tell us about where you're going this week with your kick?
Hey, ride that hot leg, man.
What I did? How would you?
No pause. Hey, let's talk
my
about.
my brain just wouldn't let me. Wouldn't even process.
You didn't want to
what was
go there.
going on.
Didn't want to go there.
Nope.
Hey, Will Riker. This is just a disgusting play, right? But versus the Commanders, currently 42.5 over under. The Commanders favored by 1.5. Rostership 3% on Sleeper, 32% on ESPN. The Commanders defense at home is exactly what the Vikings need. If it ends up being Max Brosmer, we can end up with that perfect recipe for some stall drives in a dome with very low rostership. And this is strictly a streamer. If you have been picked over completely, go out and get you some Will Reichard just for this week. And we may see JJ McCarthy come back. It was brutal, but the Commanders defense has a way of making people get right. And the beauty is the Vikings stunk it up. Will Reichard didn't even have hardly any opportunities. He'll be free. Don't even worry. But again, priority is on somebody like Evan McPherson. Chev, tell us about the both sides play that we have. Cam Little versus Colts, Michael Badgley on the other side versus the Jags.
Well, if you're, we're going bipedal here. So we're going both kickers on both teams. And that leads us to Michael Badgley. Okay. Michael Badgley, 34% rostered on ESPN, 16% rostered on Sleeper. The Colts have been, their drives have been stalling out more often after being the only team to score 20 points in every single game this past, through the past 12 weeks. Now their drives are stalling out a bit more. So Michael Badgley, he did miss an extra point. So buyer beware. This is not a perfect solution. That's a reason. There's a reason why he's only 16% rostered on Sleeper. And then, but we do have NFL record holder in this game as well, Cam Little. He is good from inside the, basically from the 50. So if for some reason Trevor Lawrence just goes full Tylenol, look, he's 38% rostered on ESPN, 62% rostered on Sleeper. This is a high over-under game, 47.5. And I think that he's going to, I know he hurt you a couple weeks out of the year, but more times than not, he's going to give you 8, 10, 5, 6. It's just, he could get you like 17. So
yeah,
it could be a boat.
Could be a boat, especially if you're trying to push into your Week 15 first round playoffs. You're making that push. Every point matters. Kickers and defense. Coach, Chev, we will see you next week.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to PlayerProfiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.